I've lost interest in whatever sport activities is to be watched on the TV, but I don't know, man. The World Cup still has that magic, that ability to create magic with plays and with uh, people's abilities and their wishes to be somebody or to express their love for what they do. And it's noticeable there because that's the main stage, right? The biggest one. And I love what's happening right now, which is the mostly on the Mexican side. I haven't seen anything in Canada, but mostly in the Mexican side and the U.S. side, people have been inviting. They have been suppressing their racism, or maybe those are the people that don't actually watch football, so they don't care, and they haven't been present. So the rest of the people who's I think the majority are enjoying themselves and are enjoying the people visiting and are being lovely to each other. And here in Mexico, the parties, the wild parties, and the crazy interactions between countries, and how we embrace them, and then now they embraced us, and it's a very nice thing to see. And you see that we're not something different, right? We can enjoy each other's company. We can be around each other and party without caring what kind of religion or what kind of team you root for. It's all about the game and loving it and enjoying the fucking game and not caring who fucking wins. Whoever wins, that's great, but it doesn't need to matter. Not in the greater context, because you're not gonna remember the wins. You're gonna remember the plays that you made, what made you an idol. And that's the beauty of that sport. Even though the most powerful country in the world is apparently not interested in it, it's not their favorite thing, and it's catching on, I guess, because a lot of people are, as I said, being there and enjoying themselves and realizing that there's no difference between us and this is just colored flags or clothes, pieces of cloth, and national anthems that are basically bellic and violent and defensive, and there's never communication, because the first thing that they teach us is be patriotic, care more about a piece of land that we designed or decided that it's going to be ours just because it was, and then somebody took away a lot of it that had a lot of resources on that land, and that's how things are done, and we're fighting over that imaginary line, and in some cases that very real line that we put between each other just so that we can avoid improving each other's lives, right? Just because they don't find it convenient that we exist, except for doing the work that they don't want to do anymore. And it's incredible here to see in the World Cup also that you are people of the most powerful country in the world are even liking us even more than like their own neighbors, and it's fucking horrible to think that that's a reality. That the system that they so thoroughly defend is failing them at the most core value that we should have, which is community, and it's failing us entirely because yeah, we need to focus on oneself, on the individuality, but there's also no reason for us to not be able to cooperate and be a community and actually work together and stop the lying and stop the cheating and stop the exploitation and just benefit everyone, because we're all here experiencing life, and it's horrible the way that some people are forced to experience that same thing. It's scary how awful some experiences are, or how short they are, because of violence and because of egos and because of unchecked egos. I'm sorry, and because of people's willingness to seek for profit and shallow things like that, and call it success instead of actually focusing on people's education and and making their experiences worthwhile living, or worth living. And yet we keep on, instead of doing that, we keep on letting greedy assholes and loveless, scared little children that never grew up out of that, of being afraid of not knowing what death is, or not knowing what love is, because their parents didn't even want to have them, or because of the way that they experienced what love was supposed to be, or coming from who it was supposed to be coming. And it's a horrible way to show that you didn't want to have that child, and you didn't even want to actually nurture that experience. And then we let things like patriotism and religious demagoguery and speeches and lies and all those sorts of things guide us into believing that sacrificing our own lives, or our children's lives in war is what's important. So long as we can either stop somebody from taking over something, or personal vendettas between world leaders making us believe something when it's totally out of their own self-interest, that they send all those people to die, right? They want to take over this stuff, and they want to do things that is obviously not the right thing to do, and yet they call it diplomacy and war efforts and rules and regulations, when we should stop wasting time on all that shit, because it's only profiting some, with some who actually develop and sell guns. Those are the only people who benefit from war. That's why we can't stop having wars. And then the most powerful country in the world spends all that money on defense and military action, and they can't even win what was supposed to be an easy war, right? With a terrorist country, apparently. They've created all these instability around the world, and now they feel they don't deserve the backlash, right, of what they did, calling everybody that defends themselves terrorists, and pointing fingers at anybody that they can consider an enemy except for themselves, right? Because they are the ones who cause every single damage to families, to communities. And that's why we tend to forget that there's another way of doing things, and we're just not being allowed to see it because we're saturated by publicity and sorry to say, like things like the World Cup and all these UFC fights and all that thing that they use to distract everybody, and it's enjoyable, and we should be able to enjoy it, but they shouldn't use it for that purpose. They shouldn't use it to try to sell us an idea of freedom that is no freedom at all. It's surveillance and it's control, and it's unchecked egos trying to take over everything and trying to make their own self-prophecies or to happen. They're self-prophetic compliers. That's what they are. They understand that because they've done the same thing over and over again, that they've overruled a nation's ability to be democratic and choose, and they implement through violence and through coups and through all that stuff leaders in countries that need help. They don't need to be exploited, and yet they keep on placing people that will enable the exploitation of those countries, with no benefit to their own interests. It's just benefit for the most powerful country in the world, who got to be that way out of exploiting and out of lying and out of cheating and out of being very, very violent with a lot of people. They don't realize that because they don't teach that in school, so they become numb to any other perspective, because it's the greatest country in the world. They don't have to abide by any kind of ethics or rules or regulations or even morality, because they even use their Christianity, which is all about love and community, and they use it to justify violence and wars and stupidity that only unchecked ego is only capable of. I think we should be hell-bent on focusing on what the World Cup is teaching us, which is all of us be the best version of ourselves that we can be, and enjoy each other's company, and that's what it's supposed to be about. Not about violence and about wars and about interests, about us even cooperating to be able to get out of this flying rock eventually. Whenever the sun is going to explode, it's a long time from now. I understand that part, but we can start preparing for that event or from any other event that may actually extinguish us, because we're too proud and too busy fighting each other over nonsense and over unchecked egos to really focus on what's important, on investing on infrastructure and things and technology that will enable us to stop working and stop depending on our fatigue, mental fatigue, and lack of motivation to exist. We're just going to be driven by money, and it's fucking scary that a lot of people think that that's success and not the mediocrity and mental illness that it really is, because those people tend to be hoarders. There's no other reason for their way of being except for being calculating and very quote-unquote smart and figuring out ways to drain the communities and have more and more and more and more, and it's never enough. So I think as a society, we are able to become that civilization that we claim that we are. And I think we have the best brain to be able to do it. Definitely the orange Nero is right in that regard, that we have the biggest brain. But hopefully we can use it to better our species and not keep on fighting like monkeys or uncontrollable little afraid egos that tend to lack accountability or any kind of empathy towards others' experiences, because they somehow lied and cheated their way into wealth, and that makes them powerful, and for some reason makes them successful, and not the liars and cheaters and hoarders that they really are. So hopefully we can help them out, and hopefully we can better this situation, because it's getting worse than I ever thought I could be able to experience. It's horrible to think that we treat each other like this, and being capable of the whole lot of us, because it's only a couple of scary little children trying to take over things and measure dicks. But the rest of us, we've realized with this World Cup in 3 different countries how we treat each other. Again, I've not seen a lot about Canada, but in the U.S. and in Mexico, everybody's been inviting and sociable, and there's probably a couple of dickheads and not able to enjoy the moment, but that's on them, and that's on their unchecked egos, and how they allow themselves to be manipulated to think a certain way just because it's convenient for a couple of rich dudes that already have everything and never seems to be enough. So hopefully we can understand that part, and we can start treating each other better, and just be able to cooperate and feel the joy of having world feasts and world parties, and it being so fucking enjoyable that we forget that we even need war or anything else, and we start enjoying each other. We start talking to each other so we can start educating each other and actually exploit our abilities and our imaginations in the right way, and stop wasting them in poverty and shark mentalities and all this kind of unnecessary stuff that don't make you a man. It's just you trying to comply with what your ego is saying, and that's it. If you're a real man, you'll take care of your family. You don't abuse them. You don't mistreat them. You actually choose to be with somebody. You don't do it just because of your ego or just because they have to be yours. That's stupid, because you're ruining your experience as well. So you don't get to enjoy something like the World Cup and in peace. You're always thinking about jealousy and envy and regret, and it's fucking exhausting. And I get why we tend to think that the life is not enjoyable, or that is not worthy of seeking happiness and love on or through, but I'm a firm believer that it is, because I've been patient and I've made the right decisions, hard decisions, and they've hurt a lot, but they eventually got me to where I am, and I can't be happier than what I am right now. It sounds pretentious and high horse, but it's only me honestly trying to find a way that we can understand, that we can enjoy each other without fighting, and believe in whatever the fuck we want to believe, as long as we're good people. And you can believe in 1,000 gods or none, and you'll be as good as a member, as a community, as anybody else, right? So hopefully we can start thinking about ways. I don't have the answers, but hopefully we can start thinking about ways that we can do that, and find ways of avoiding any kind of super volcano explosion or solar flare that would take us apart and bring us back to the Stone Age, right? Or anything, a big earthquake like it happened in Venezuela a bit ago. Anything that actually inspires you to better your situation, you can do it, and it's something that we just need to get into our brains, that it's very much more important than money and whatever status you wish to acquire in life. If you're a good person to yourself and to others, you'll be able to enjoy the experience any way that you choose to, and it's about that the kind of event that we're experiencing right now is about enjoying each other and participating and competing in a friendly way, and being lost in the when we lose, but be actually respectful and enjoy ourselves as well when we win, and we can help each other learn from our mistakes and get better next time that we meet, and that's what's about, I guess. Not sure, maybe. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you for your time, and hope you have a great day.